Theodore Bundy made the big time today. That's criminally speaking. The escaped kidnapper received the highest recognition from the FBI. And Bill Brown is here to tell us what happened. Bill?
Dan, wherever he may be, Bundy, a former University of Utah law student, is now on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. Back in 1976, Bundy was found guilty of kidnapping a young woman in Murray. He was serving time for that in the Utah prison when he was charged with killing a vacationing skier, Karen Campbell, near Aspen, Colorado. During a court hearing last summer in Aspen, Bundy jumped out a window. Recaptured 6 days later, he went back to jail, but just before his murder trial last month, the clever convict crawled through the ceiling of his cell in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and escaped again. He's still out. Today, Bundy was named to the FBI's famous 10 Most Wanted list that was started by J. Edgar Hoover.
The top 10 increases the chances in that each one of our special agents, along with the other law enforcement people around the country, kind of like to get the so-called feather in the cap if they can participate in the capture of a top 10. And just like in any, any other business, when you reach the top, it becomes a little more important to you. We look for all of our fugitives, but there is more media interest in top 10 people. There's more interest from police departments.
Jack Egner, who's Salt Lake's new special agent in charge in Salt Lake, says Bundy is now suspected in the sex killings of 36 women all over the western United States. The wanted posters will go up in federal buildings and post offices across the country. Terry, the Bureau has no real leads on Bundy now. He's still free, and they are offering to pay money on any information that could lead to his recapture.
Okay. The FBI says Theodore Bundy is suspected of killing 36 women throughout the West. That came out today as the Bureau put Bundy on its 10 Most Wanted list. Bill Brown has the story.
Theodore Bundy, native of Tacoma, Washington, former Utah law student, political campaign worker, convicted kidnapper. Now ranks up there with Pretty Boy Floyd and John Dillinger. He's one of the FBI's 10 Most Wanted fugitives. Bundy was found guilty of kidnapping a woman in Murray, Utah. Was in prison for that when charged with murdering a Michigan nurse, Karen Campbell, near Aspen, Colorado, 3 years ago. Before trial, he escaped, was captured, then last month escaped again, and he's still free.
The top 10 increases the chances in that each one of our special agents, along with the other law enforcement people around the country, kind of like to get the so-called feather in the cap if they can participate in the capture of a top 10. And just like in any, any other business, when you reach the top, it becomes a little more important to you.
The FBI says Bundy is suspected of killing 36 women in sex murders throughout the West. These wanted posters will go up in post offices and federal buildings across the nation. The FBI is offering to pay for information on Bundy.
Well, if it was going well, I wouldn't be having this conference right now to put him on the top 10, let's put it that way. So far, we have not had any indication of exactly where he is located.
Putting Bundy on this list of the criminal elite makes him more famous, but not necessarily any easier to catch. It could make a psychological difference, though, and at this point, with almost nothing to go on, the Bureau needs all the help it can get. Bill Brown, Newswatch 2 at FBI headquarters in Salt Lake City.